What do you see for 2027? What do you see? All this PRP, we have Donald Duke, ADC Atiku Abubakar, he has not nominated a VP. Of course, Peter Obi has Kwakwanso. Bola Tinubu, we're not sure because Daniel Bola sat here and I asked him, is he running with Kashim Shettima? He said no, that he cannot speak for the president until the president confirms. What do you think? Who stands the best chance? Don't tell me Peter Obi. Assess them. Who stands the best chance?
I heard that Atiku has nominated Rotimi Amechi. But that would be a strong ticket. For Donald Duke, I don't know if he will be able to win any state. But you also have to look at what's on ground. Even his state, he's popular there. Because somebody told me that during the NSAS, they were burning houses, that of Udoma Egba, that of Gershom Bassi, and so many. And then, when that started, he came out and addressed the youths. And they went to the houses. That's good. But was he able to deliver that state for any political party? I don't think so. So I cannot sit down here today and tell you, Peter Obi won that state, if you remember, in 2023, that at best they will share the votes in that state, in Cross River. Same thing for Rotimi Amechi. I don't see Rotimi Amechi even as a running mate to Atiku, delivering River State to Atiku.
Why?
Because you have strong characters.
Amechi was a former governor, 2-term minister.
Yeah.
And he has massive support. And he did very well he did not just very well, fantastically well.
I know so. He started most of the dualization. Exactly. I mean, I live in that place. Exactly. And I have even told him this to his face, you know. But we are talking about today's reality. So I don't see how, that's what the last time I talked about, having a free, fair, and credible election. So it's difficult for us to really assess some of these things now, if we cannot have free, fair, and credible election. Ordinarily, if you leave it to all to fight in a level playing field, you allow it for a level playing field, he will not be able to outrightly win River State. You know something about, somebody told me then that you did a lot while you were in the House of Reps. You did a lot. You had the scholarship, you had the foundation that was running for years before you were elected, and it kept running. In every home in your constituency, your notebooks enter, you enroll NECO for people, everybody. You are known by everybody. You say, but over time, people will begin to forget that. People have short memory span. They are thinking about today. He's been out of power in River State, going to 12 years, 13 years, you say. So, or 11 years. So it's easy for people to forget some of those things. And it's not so easy to carry members or your supporters along for that long. That's what you talk about, the obedience, whether Obi cannot rein them in. As long as you are not investing in them, you are not sending money for recharge card and the hospital bills, and it's not easy to carry them along. So most of them would have been wicked supporters today, and maybe other political parties. But we have a huge number of Igbos in River State, huge number of them. If you allow them to even vote alone, it will go a long way. Besides the fact that you have other ethnic groups in rivers. There are other Riverians or River State people that are are obedient. I know of a lady in River State in that 2023 election. She used to work somewhere that I know. And she said, where I registered, I don't live there anymore. It's my sister's place and all that. I don't have transport money to. I sent her money, more than enough, to stay. If you need to take care of yourself in your sister's house, and then vote, and then to return home. I don't vote in River State. But that was just me encouraging somebody. And that's a River State person, not an Igbo person. So, Obi will still do well if they allow. If not, win outright.
So you don't think Rotimi Amechi now, on the ticket of the ADC, pairing with Atiku, will deliver South-South? Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, Delta, Rivers, of course. You don't think so?
Just the way Okowa delivered it.
They are two different people.
He cannot.
No. Okowa's choice was a strategic blunder. On hindsight, even though some of us knew then, but at least now it was, because even by his personality, compare and contrast the personalities of these two individuals.
He cannot win River State.
Okay.
I repeat that.
But I beg to differ with you, but let's leave that. Give us that. So, the other candidates.
Okay. So, who is going to vote for Atiku in the South? I don't see anybody voting for Atiku.
Are you serious?
That's true.
Atiku has widespread.
2019, we were articulated, because I was on ticket with him. We were articulated, and he won. But that sentiment is gone, it has changed. The question people keep asking is, why him? He caused the trouble in PDP in the 2022 primary election.
Did he?
Yes.
How?
Because in 2019, okay, let's even go back. This is not personal. I respect the man.
Yeah.
In 2015 or 14, you remember he walked away from in Eagle Square
yes.
with some governors and all that. They went to join the APC as a new PDP.
Yes.
And then what happened? He contested the primaries with Buhari.
Yeah.
Of course, Tinubu knew what he wanted because he was planning for today. And then they edged him out. Then he came back. That same party he removed from office with his men came back to the PDP. They gave him the ticket in 2019. Yeah, maybe he won that election. Because what was the argument then? There's a northerner there. So no southerner can take him out. So let a northerner go. But in 2022, that changed. Because then, remember, he chose Peter Obi then as his running mate. And he got a huge vote from the South. Then, in 2022, I would have thought he would take the man he believed in, that worked with him, to say, okay, fine, you run, I will be the leader of the party, I will support you. He didn't do that. Now, he was zoning, he was supposed to be favored the South, he was supposed to go to the South. He still came out. Because of him, PDP refused to zone. I remember Dan Boala then, he was in APC. Say, PDP, they don't have any other person outside Atiku. Atiku will get the ticket. That was before he got the ticket, and he got the ticket. That was when the PDP wahala or crisis started. Now, he came to ADC, I'm sure you heard people mounting it, that is his party, he's the one that will get the ticket. True to type, he had gotten the ticket now. But this is again the time people are saying, just allow the South to finish their turn.
My brother, is it not unfair to say it's Atiku's party, he would always win? He squared off against two other prominent Nigerians, and they won the ticket. So are you not being, uncharitable to the man?
I wasn't the one that said that. Because by the time he was running, I had left the party. People kept telling us, yes. Are you sure these people are wasting your time? They will not give Obi the ticket. It's Atiku that will get the ticket. It's his party. He's majorly behind the party and all. I mean, he's the promoter, so to speak. And that played out. So it did surprise me because people already said that. I was just hoping against hope that the man will get to a point when he will say, hey, I want the younger men to go. Then I will lead them. He never said that.
Can anybody deny any man or woman, for that matter, to aspire for anything? It is left for the people to decide. Donald Trump is old. President Tinubu, some medical professor of medicine sat here and told me he's old, that we should add 12 years to his age. So, and President Trump, seems to be, the more he gets old by the calendar, the more he seems to be more energized, standing on his feet, answering questions from reporters every day, non-stop, doing interviews non-stop. Do you fault that? How do you argue against that?
It's not the same. I told you I read...
Does Atiku have any health issue that you know about?
No. See, age will naturally, it will come, you take its toll. If you don't sleep for 3 days now, on the 4th day, you'll be struggling to put a sentence together. But 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you can be awake for 4 days and you'll still be bouncing. People, the youth in my constituency do that. The last day of the campaign, when we are preparing for election, they start playing music in my compound. Then on the eve, into the election day, they will dance all through the night and say, okay, we'll go to the field. From the field, they will, after voting, they will escort it. Almost 3 days they are awake. I can't do that today.
Let's round up on this.
Yes.
As we speak here, 90 or 95% of the candidates for presidency are from the southern part of Nigeria.
Yes.
All of them, presidential candidates, except Atiku from the north, standing alone from the north. How do you think all these guys from the south, who are going to splinter their votes, Tinubu APC will splinter his votes with Peter Obi from the southeast, Donald Duke from the south-south, Adebayo Adewale from the southwest, Seyi Makinde from the southwest. I could go on, Omoyele Sowore from the southwest. All of them are going to, share these votes from them. Atiku alone is standing in the north. And the north, traditionally, has the bulk votes. How do you interpret this for us, or interrogate it?
Like that. How many votes can is it Showore?
Showore.
Showore take from Tinubu.
Okay.
How many can the SDP guy, who I like him a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many votes can he take from Tinubu? Then talking about the South and the Southeast. Again, let's emphasize it is a free and fair election that is not monetized. Peter Obi any day will win the Southeast and the South. Any day. Yeah, maybe Dunadu can take some votes. Rotimi Amici, yeah, can take some votes. Yeah, if Sheikh Makinde from the Southwest can take some votes. But it will not scratch the surface. Then you talk about there's no homogeneous North. Now you have the middle belt. I'm not talking about so much of the North Center, the middle belt. Those ones are not likely to vote for Atiku. You can talk about the core North. So if you take that, with the vote from the core North alone, see him through? No. Buhari had those votes. And people were even more energized then because the same belief we have about Peter Obi was what they had about Buhari, that he's not corrupt and all that. But he could not cross the Naija till he had a handshake from Tinubu. So Atiku not having votes in the South would disadvantage him, especially the fact that even the North, he can't get enough vote from the middle belt to win. So he might be the only person standing, but how many of those votes? Now you have Kwankwaso. Can you really tell me that Kwankwaso cannot deliver even Kano or Jigawa? If he doesn't deliver those states, the minimum he will take away from there is 25%. Peter Obi on his own will take 25% of the votes in Kaduna without even Kwankwaso. So your next president is Peter Obi, whether we like it or not. He is. I can see the roadmap. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria today, does not have a pathway to go back to the villa unless
Even
they do otherwise.
2 or 34 governors, senators, and reps.
Then, you see, let that be free and fair election. I said this in April when we had World Press Conference. You know, serving and former members. That was in April. I said, look, these people should not truncate this democracy. And I said, we had G34 that went to see Abacha then. And they were largely people that later formed PDP, led by Solomon La and the rest of them. Say, look, we want civil rule, hand over to civilians. Organize an election, hand over to civilians. They went there, they gave him a letter. Nobody in APC today went with that group. So I'm saying, they did not fight for this democracy. Forget about what they claim other people did before. You know, I don't believe in what these things they said they did before. Because today they say they are Democrats. We can't see it. So what I said then is, before 1999, even 1999, what was their net worth? I said all this that day. Why I was saying it is, you had the opportunity to get to where you are today. Don't mess it up. Because I don't think any of them had more than him, had anything close to $1 million then. I said in 1999, I know what I was doing. I had contract with 2 oil majors, IOCs, worth over $1 million. In 1999, I had a visa from China. I did not appear in the embassy. A staff of mine, who is the general manager in Total today, went to collect the passport with the visa from the CNPC, that's Chinese National Petroleum Company. The guy used to stay in Eco Hotel. Went to collect the passport with the visa stamped for me to go to China. I still didn't go because we're looking for rigs. I used to hear this guy, the former Minister of Communication or Information, Lai Mohammed, say in 2014 and 2015, that Nigeria was a pariah nation. It wasn't. We had an elected government. In 1999, we could not get rigs from America or from Europe. That's how we started going to China. So I'm saying this to say, I know what I was worth then. I know what I was doing then. These people, what were they doing then? What was their net worth? Okay. So if they had the opportunity, they had the country where they can become who they are today, don't mess it up for the younger people. Okay. Most of them were in their 40s, in their 30s. Look at where they are today. So allow for free, fair, credible election so that Nigerians will not decide who they will elect. And if you do that, we will not be having this conversation today. Okay.
The Atiku people will tell you that he will lock down. He has, not that he will, he already has Northwest locked down. That's the highest registered voters in Nigeria on INEC registered by data. Northwest, he has it on lockdown. He's from the Northeast, so he has that on lockdown as well. And that by the choice of Rotimi Amechi, South, he would get at least 60% of the votes there. And then, of course, he would do well in the North Central. Is Atiku not home and dry?
He's not. Not nearly. He will not get vote from the South. The entire South. I'm telling you this.
Not even 25%.
He will not. Where? Which state?
Rivers State.
If there's free and fair election,
Bayelsa.
maybe where in Bayelsa? Maybe if there's free and fair election, yes, maybe he might get 25% in Rivers State, but he cannot win Rivers State.
Okay, let's.
He cannot.
We will interrogate this further. But final question, just for the sake of argument, this conversation, assuming Peter Obi wins against all the odds, as daunting as they are, he wins, becomes president. But then you have the same governors by all the parties, same senators, same reps, same civil servants. What changes?
Assuming he wins.
Yes, assuming he wins.
Everything will change.
By just one man.
Yes, because the governors, the man has said, as long as I'm on top, I am not taking, nobody will take. The greatest challenge we have now is the fact that when you have permanent secretaries leaving office and contesting for election immediately, nobody's respecting the Procurement Act of 2007. Nobody's respecting the, what's the other one now?
Code of Conduct Bureau or whatever.
They are not respecting any of those things. The Constitution is the ground norm, Section 1, Sub 1. But today they are not respecting, I'm trying to remember the particular one, where you are supposed to spend what you are spending the budget on, quarterly you are supposed to report to a committee who will appraise what you have done. They are not following any of those things right now. Practically breaking the law. But you have somebody in Peter Obi, he has said repeatedly, because I will not take, anyone that takes under me, not just be fired, will be prosecuted. So that can change everything. The last time I told you about, you saw the video about the El Salvador president. Who was talking about education. Chief Awolowo said that so many years ago. Obasanjo was saying that out of school children. Pastor Chris Yakilome says, these children under the bridge now, if they are 10 years today, you add another 15 years to them, they'll be 25. 1999, when this Fourth Republic started, children that were born then are how old now? 27. So imagine they were 5 years then. They're about 32 now. The people, Boko Haram, all those military agitators, how old are they? So that's the challenge. So you will fix education from day one. Following just the SDG, he will fix education from day one. Fix health. We are talking about training institution for security agents. If you tackle all those things, you might not be able to solve the criminals today, like the El Salvador president said, those that have been raping people and are doing all that are over 20. You can't do much about it, but start with the younger ones today. And for Peter Obi, who's going to be a role model, you have heard him say, from when he was in higher institution, he was living in his house, he had a shop in school, year 1, the car he drove, year 2, the kind of car he drove, year 3. So he's a trader. He knows how to account for every dime. The number one thing he will have for himself is accountability. That's the credibility he's taking to the villa. And if you have a head that knows where he's going to, and says, I'm not touching public funds, every other person will follow. That's how we can get the system. Okay, let me just quickly add, when we're talking about this terrorism thing. Chief Awolowo was jailed for terrorism act. But it was a political solution that the government brought him out.